Have you ever wondered why your desire for sex has taken a nosedive recently, when maybe you still really love your partner and you wish this wasn't the case? You're not alone. Relationship tension and stress can play a huge role in lowering your libido. Hey guys, I'm Stephanie Ganowski, your sexologist for men. And we are talking about lowered libido due to relationship tension. You guys will feel like, oh, I'm not in the mood. Something's wrong with me. Maybe I need to see a doctor. I need to get on a medication. My testosterone must be low. Something's wrong with my hormones. Often, it is about your relationship with your partner. So I'm going to explain to you why this happens and what you could do about it. So first of all, stress and tension are common libido killers. Okay. And it makes sense, right? If you're feeling misunderstood in your relationship, if you have an unresolved conflict in your relationship, there's this elephant in the room. Now, this doesn't mean that something's wrong with you or something's wrong with your partner or even your relationship. It could just be you both don't realize that this conflict is just sitting there and it's affecting your sex life. Or you may not be aware of the fact that you really don't like when your partner talks to you a certain way and you haven't spoken up about it yet. You know, sometimes we're not fully aware of what's creating the tension, and it takes a little thinking and brainstorming and even talking with our partner to find out. I want you to think right now, what do you think your lowered libido could be coming from in the case of your relationship? Does your partner criticize you in a way that you haven't spoken up about and it really doesn't make you feel good? Has there been a recent argument that wasn't resolved properly, or an argument from the past that was never resolved, but it's sitting there in your mind? It's just sitting there consuming your energy and taking away your sex. Maybe one of you wants more sex than the other, haven't found a way to work through that together. These situations create a cycle. Emotional tension leads to less sex, and less sex leads to more emotional tension. So once you know where your tension is coming from between you and your partner that's possibly lowering your libido, there are things you could do about it. The first is to address the underlying tension with your partner. And this means you have to go in with a non-judgmental attitude and really be curious. Curiosity is king. Start by asking each other, has anything been bothering you within our relationship when it comes to our communication or our connection? And then listen. Once she's done talking, you share your part of the story. Really important not to get defensive here, because you want to be able to hear from your partner's words what she truly believes at this point that's creating tension. It doesn't help to argue or to defend, because then you're not hearing what she's actually feeling. All right. The only way you can solve things is when you know where you're both coming from. So you need to get that honest, genuine perspective. The next step is to start encouraging each other to participate in more non-sexual intimacy. This builds emotional connection in a way that's more natural and like flowing versus, okay, let's get back to having sex. Sex can be a bit intimidating or feel kind of awkward to go from no sex to sex. You kind of feel like you're forcing it, and then that creates tension again. The gap is non-sexual intimacy. This means you're more committed to writing notes to each other or hugging each other for longer than you normally would. Even doing these things and spending more quality time together, listening to each other, talking and laughing, this will start building upon that emotional connection that is needed. The third thing you can do is lessen the pressure when it comes to sex. So be able to kiss and make out without having an expectation that sex has to come next. You can just start having more of these intimate moments without having to have sex. Then there's no tension, right? So if you can both agree, hey, let's do our best to try to connect with each other more. And if we both want to have sex, it will go there. And if we don't, that's okay. And really both being okay with that no expectation. Let's just get better at connecting with one another and make that the goal. When you make this the goal, sex becomes the natural next thing. But if this is not the goal and sex is always the goal, it almost never works. So you really want to make the goal here to connect with your partner. Another thing you could do is practice stress management. So this is understanding how both of you relieve stress within your relationship and just in general. If you ask her, what are 2 ways that you reduce stress? And can I help you with either of those? You might be able to help, you might not. It might be like, oh, she wants to take a bubble bath or go on a walk by herself, right? And those things she would most likely want to do by herself. Whereas maybe she could say, well, you can help me by just, hanging out and stroking my head when I'm laying on your lap when we watch a movie, right? That could be stress reducing. It could also promote intimacy. So talk to each other and figure out what specific things can you do to reduce stress and help each other with that so that you feel like you're helping each other to get rid of any tension that's within the relationship. And the last thing you could do is seek professional help if needed. So this gives you an outsider's perspective, and sometimes you're just so far down the rabbit hole that you really need an outsider perspective because you guys are just too stuck in the habit of the tension. Been there myself, so I know what this feels like, to feel stuck and to feel like there's no way out. Overall, remember, a lowered libido does not necessarily mean there's something wrong hormonally or that you have to go on medication. It often can be a tension between you and your partner that needs to be resolved. And that comes through communication and changing your behavior and possibly reaching out for help if that's what you need to do. So if this resonates with you and you're interested in coaching and working with me one-on-one and you're serious about it, then join my VIP coaching list. It's in the description of this video, and I'm going to be sending you some information on my coaching as well as some tips and tools to help you along the way. Go click if you are serious about coaching with me. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.